Hey, everybody. Michelle is back. I wanted to come on back and talk more about overindulgence and gluttony, whatever we're calling it. It's all the same energy. You know what I mean? If you can think along those lines and understand that it's all the same energy. It's just different forms of energy. Energy is energy. So it doesn't matter whether it's solid, whether it's fluid, whether it's invisible or visible. It's all a form of energy. And that's the thing that we are missing opportunities on because we're so focused on the physical. We're so focused on our physicalness, which is important to take care of our physicalness, by, to tell someone to eat healthy, that sounds kind of contradicting. It really does. I mean, because, and the thing is if I mention anything that I do to eat healthy, quote unquote, it'll get targeted. And we all know that that's happening. For example, if there's a certain type of food that we are all enjoying and that we talk about the benefits of it, we talk, whether it's fruits, vegetables, whatever it is, something comes through and target that. And that's an intention. That's an intentional criminal energy to make everything seem as though it's dangerous for you to eat. It's dangerous for you to consume. You need to stop eating meat. You need to stop drinking milk. You need to exercise. 24 hours a day. It becomes extreme, and that's the intention, is to get you all confused and you don't know what the hell to do. And I feel this for my young people. Well, to be honest, and maybe I don't. I'm sensing that those of you that were born in, say, the middle 80s and above, up to the present 2026, because I even think newborns know a little bit more about what's going on than actually we do. And I'll explain that. It's about energy. That's what it boils down to. Okay, this is not our first rodeo. And what does that mean? I don't know. Let me make sure that's not, because it sounds, like I said, I want to speak as clear as possible so that young people will understand. And I know and you know what? Again, I don't think it's really that the young people do not understand. They are just not capitalizing or being engrossed in what it means, literally, figuratively, metaphorically. Is that's a guess and that's an assumption. So not our first rodeo means that someone has experienced a situation before and is familiar with it. Okay, of course a newborn is familiar with being a newborn, just as I'm familiar with that and you are. Why? Because we re-alive. We used to call it reincarnation. It's not reincarnation. It's a disbursement of energy. When I pass away in this physical body, hear me, I pass the energy on to another personality. And that personality will function based on how I am performing in this particular lifetime. And what do I mean by how am I performing? Am I logical, rational, and reasonable? Am I emitting universal love as best I understand it? Okay. Am I kind and gentle with people as best I can? Am I making mistakes? Hell yeah. Am I making errors? Hell yeah. Am I understanding the difference between delusion, hallucination? Am I understanding the difference between hearing voices? These are the things that I've talked about over the course of years, a few years now, since 2022. Okay, and I'm telling you that we are, as a collective, too focused on the solid. We are a solid blob. You remember I said something about the blob? I'm not sure what I said. It's too early. I haven't even had my coffee, but I want to go ahead and get this in. Remember what I said about the blob? Let's see. Because I may be talking literal, not necessarily the movie. Let's see. Let's see. It says the blob. It is often interpreted as a metaphor for communism. Okay, representing a insatiable and growing threat that consumes everything in its path. Okay, so it symbolizes this fear of creeping ideology that could overwhelm society. Now, are we experiencing that right now? So are we in a communist situation right now? I know we're in a dictatorship regime. That's something to think about. But we are too focused on the solid of who we are. And when I say that, that means we're too focused on our physical bodies. We want to look young. We want to act young. We want to da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. We want to be able to lift 1,000 pounds. I saw someone, oh Lord. I mean, I'm not really sure why this person was doing that. But, you know, everything's a commodity. Everything's a show. Everything's a performance. Where this person was lifting weights. Okay, and I think this person is barely 5'5". That's fine. You know, that's a great height to have. But it looks like the worst thing you can do, I'm telling you, when you're lifting weights, is to lift it over your head. Nobody's going to tell you that. Okay, nobody's going to tell you that. Okay? This is the fallacy of what we've been taught and how we're being taught the wrong things. Lifting that much weight over your head is dangerous for your spine, is dangerous for your joints, and it's just dangerous in general. Okay? So that's why when you see these people who have lifted this massive amount of weight over their head, why they are either suffering from some type of joint pain, they're hunched over. Okay, because you're suppressing all of that. But anyway, I digress. So are we representing communism as well as dictatorship? I say yes. I say what makes us different from any other regime back decades ago? Do your research and ask yourself. Do some comparison. See what's similar about what we're going through now and what we went through, say, World War II. Everybody's always talking about Hitler. Everybody's talking about Hitler. Were you talking about him during, because there are people still alive who experienced his regime. And we always seem to bring that up. But in my opinion, there's a Hitler-like behavior. There's a Hitler-like personality that's alive right now. And I'm not talking about our regime here. There's a Hitler-like personality that is alive now that's committing genocide. See how honey, that's when coffee does stick in. We talk about Hitler. We talk about his totalitarian dictatorship. Extreme nationalism, suppression of political opposition. This that word, I'm not going to even mention it because that's a fallacy. That word is a fallacy. Now we know what it is. That everybody's so afraid to talk about. So yesterday I was talking about how we are literally over consuming of everything, whether it's eating, whether it's drinking, whether it's and then on top of that, the metaphor of it is how we're thinking or lack thereof, how we're behaving and acting. Like this term was out, never again. Remember who said that? that wars will, that particular wars will never happen again, and that same regime or that same collective of people are the ones involved in these wars that we have been experiencing for the last decade or so, decades ago. And each time we're building on that. That's why we have a dictator. We allowed it, so let's just put it this way. We've always been operating behind the scenes as a dictator. Not all presidents. One particular president attempted to avoid all that, but he was threatened, and his family was more important in that job that he had. But I digress again. So compare what happened with the last war involving Hitler, and see the comparisons, and tell me what's the difference. The difference is there's, instead of Hitler, there's three of them. We have three of them, 3 Hitlers, maybe 4, and maybe even 5. Do the comparison. Think this through on your own. No one has to know. You don't have to get on social media either. And a lot of people are making that mistake, getting on social media, believing they know something. Okay, you can get on there and share. You can get on there and allow people to figure things out on their own. But for you to be believing you know something, okay, all you're doing is setting yourself up, honestly. Because I can guarantee you have no idea what's going on in the background. Because if you did, I know you know your life would be threatened. Just think about it. But there's nothing anyone can do about if you figure stuff out on your own and you put 2 and 2 together. You're playing chess and not checkers. I mean, that's still so funny to me to realize most people were playing checkers and not chess. Woo! So overindulgence, gluttony is a metaphor. It's a metaphor. So that doesn't necessarily mean what you're eating. It's not necessarily what you're drinking, but what are you thinking? How are you acting? How are you behaving? Are you, it's extreme. It's a overconsumption. Television, watching or playing video games. That's the one. Oh boy, that touches a nerve. That touches a nerve with the young ones. Overconsumption of video games, honey. It's degrading. It will cause depletion of resources, and it increases waste. Simple, plain, easy. Even young adolescents can figure this out. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this right now, because I got, of course, I got stuff to do. I got a life that I love. I'm enjoying myself. The peace that I have within me, no one can touch. And I'm helping you to get to that point as well. So trust me, I will. Oh, let me give you the date, honey. Let me give you the date. March the 13th, 2026, on a Friday. Oh my goodness, it's Friday. So, enjoy yourself, enjoy each other. Most importantly, enjoy the moments, protect yourself, protect each other, and most importantly, protect your consciousness.